Anthropic shipped Claude Opus 5 today, and the headline writes itself. Mac Rumors puts it plainly, nearly matches the flagship at half the price. And I usually don't do these type of news bits, but came through my news feed early this morning, and I want to cover it. I'm going to be dropping, obviously, into Opus 5 all this weekend. That's what I do. I was running Kimmy all last weekend, and Kimmy is amazing. But I'm really curious about what Opus 5 is going to be all about. So let's talk about it before I jump into it. All good. You guys can check the tweeters and all that for updates on my test. So the numbers are genuinely startling. On CursorBench, a coding agent benchmark, Opus 5 landed within 0.5% of Fable 5, the top-tiered model, on half the cost per task. On OSWorld, a computer use benchmark, it didn't come up close. It beat the flagship's best result at a little over a third of the cost. $5 per million tokens in, 25 out. Same price as the model it replaces. Nice. So the tier above it costs double, and on a bunch of these tests, loses, which produced today's consensus roughly instantly. The flagship is dead. Frontier AI is commoditized. Why would anyone pay double for a rounding error? And then the counter consensus from the people who think they're the adults in the room. Benchmarks are only marketing, leadership is meaningless, ignore all of it, da-da-da-da. I think all the consensus is wrong because I run these models locally and I do it all the time for all of my tests. And I think the counter consensus is even lazier, which is worse because it sounds like wisdom. Benchmarks are not meaningless, even though at the end of the day, most of us are never even going to get close to those type of tests. That's the cheap dismissal. Benchmarks are precisely meaningful about one very specific thing. That's why benchmarks are good. They measure one thing. Here's my analogy, and it's the only one I'll use. I spent my life around racing. In racing, there are two completely different numbers, and confusing them ends careers. There's the qualifying lap, the one lap with fresh tires, empty fuel load, maximum attack, everything the car has for 90 seconds. That number is real. It is also, famously, not who wins. Then there's Le Mans, 24 hours, and the pole sitter usually doesn't win Le Mans. The car that wins is the one who's running at the 23:59. That didn't cook its brakes, didn't fry a drive shaft, it did Daytona just a couple weeks ago, didn't drift a half a second off pace every stint until it was lapped down, and nobody noticed when it happened. You see, every benchmark you read today is a qualifying lap. CursorBench, OSWorld, bounded task, clean context, defined finish line, graded at the end. That's the fast lap, and that's okay. It's a real measurement of a real capability. But that is not what I do with these models, and I suspect it's probably not what you do either. My agents run unattended. They're on boxes all the time. They write, render, and publish on schedule while I'm asleep. Cron jobs, API keys, no human in the loop for the whole run. What I need is not brilliance on question 1. I need the thing to still be coherent at minute 40, to hold the thread long enough through a chain of steps where each step output is the next step's input, and to notice when it's gone sideways instead of confidently compounding the error for another 20 minutes. Every single operator I talk to, when they finally run agents autonomously, they always come back to me and they say, it's drifting. You haven't put in enough toll gates or stage gates or check gates or verify gates. You see, that's endurance. And endurance is exactly what tiering is all about. Read the fine print on top tier and it's right there. It's built for long, complex, autonomous tasks. Not smarter per question, longer per task. Now here's what I find genuinely interesting, and it's buried in Anthropic's own description of the new model. They say it's better at verifying its work and iterating until it completes a task. Read that again. That's not a benchmark score. That's a durability claim. The people who built it are telling you what exactly matters, and it isn't the number that everybody put in the headline. So, in my opinion, and this is why I'm creating this article and reading it to you guys, is because of exactly that. That's what I saw. That's what my agents saw. Durability, longevity. So the honest caveat is, because I'm a builder and not a fanboy for anybody's leaderboard, I don't have a long horizon data set yet. Nobody does. It shipped today or yesterday. The endurance gap I'm describing is the stated design difference between the tiers, because my own experience of where agents break, it is not a measured result, and I'd like to be doing exactly what I'm criticizing if I'm pretending otherwise, right? It's entirely possible the cheap models hold the full distance, and the premium tier's advantage evaporates in practice. If so, terrific. My bill goes down. I'll report it either way. What I'm confident about is the failure mode. That is what really matters, which is people reading a sprint number and buying it for a marathon. So here's the practical read. 3 things. Number 1, route by duration, not by leaderboard. Short, bounded, high volume, verified work. Summarize this, classify that, one clean pass, take the cheaper tier every time. Half the cost, sometimes a third, essentially the same result. That's not a compromise. That's just free money. And if you're paying premium rates for inbound tasks, you're lighting cash on fire, right? So, number 2, spend the premium only when nobody's watching. The long attended chain, the overnight job, the multi-step run where an error at step 4 silently poisons step 11. That's where the extra dollars buy something a benchmark can't show you. 3, and nobody does this one. Measure your own drift point. Run your actual workflow and find the minute where quality falls off. Not on someone's evaluation, not on your evaluation after work. That number is worth more to you than every leaderboard published today, and you're the only person who can produce it. Because here's the thing about qualifying. It's genuinely thrilling, right? It's awesome to go fast. And it tells you something true about the car. At maximum attack, when everything's dialed in, you can go fast. It just doesn't tell you who's still running at sunrise. So, here's the key takeaway for everyone listening. Go find your drift point. That's the number nobody's actually publishing. And I know you're listening, David. Find your drift point, David.